Well, let's get this done because I got to go to work tomorrow. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
You.
I'm even wearing my Bering and Wells shirt.
I saw that.
Wells and Bering.
Mine's just Stitch Wars.
Bering and Wells.
Wells and Bering.
Wells and Bering.
Love this episode.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast, where a steampunk girl, a lifelong sci-fi fan, and a rocket scientist chat about the popular 2009 sci-fi series. There's never a dull moment with the agents dedicated to protect humankind from unexplained phenomena that manifest their powers in special objects. And there's all those friendships and relationships along the way. Grab a cookie while you can. Hope you don't smell fudge. Gear up with your Farnsworth, Tesla, and Neutralizer, and let's have some fun by snagging it, bagging it, and tagging it.
Welcome back to Artie's Attic. We're a Warehouse 13 fan cast. I'm the Warehouse 13 janitor, now out of a job. My name is SP.
Oh.
And introducing Artie's Attic lead agent and historian who wins games by simply changing the rules and starts smelling apples. It's Agent Shannon.
What's up, guys?
And also joining us is the warehouse agent who has been known to hold a gun to her own mother. It's Agent Carolyn.
What? Oh, I have not.
You totally
Not unless
did.
somebody has the riding crop and is controlling me.
Okay. That's what happened. We'll
Yes.
just go with it, right?
Rude.
We are continuing our Warehouse 13 series discussion with the episode that premiered on October 3rd, 2011. 9 years before the not so great reviewed film Haunting of the Mary Celeste premiered in 2020. Somewhere. I'm not quite sure where it premiered.
What
But
is 20?
it is still available on Freevee.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. So it was 2020. Remember, like, movies in 2020? So here is the synopsis of the film. Rachel, a concerned researcher, and her team have set out to sea to prove that the disappearance of a family and crew from a merchant ship was for reasons having to do with the supernatural. Her theory that those on the Mary Celeste vanished into a rift between dimensions proves true as the boat breaks down and her crew begins to vanish one by one.
Wasn't that Ghost Ship? Was Ghost Ship?
It was called The Haunting of the Mary Celeste.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
Maybe Ghost Ship did the same thing.
It's on Freevee. You can watch it.
Yeah.
Free
That-
on Amazon.
Sounds like something I'm
Let me
just
go
going to
jump on all
mark
that.
out
Yeah.
and watch.
All right. All right. I'm referring to the Warehouse 13 Season 3 12th and final episode that rivals the best of both worlds. The episode is called
really does.
Stand.
Damn.
It really
Yes.
does.
The TVGuide.com description of the episode reads, Conclusion. Pete and Micah investigate the theft of a file from the warehouse, which takes them to a high school in Wyoming, where H.G. Wells is working as a teacher named Emily Lake in the season 3 finale.
Wait, what?
It was the same description.
It's the same description because it's just part 2.
Oh, I get it.
That's back in the day when you had nothing but the TV guide, right?
Yep.
So when you had a long, wait in between last season and this season, they want to recap it for you.
It was, remember the last two episodes were aired on the same day.
Aired on the same day.
Back to back. So this one was Conclusion, and then reiterated the synopsis from the episode before.
Oh,
Emily
that's
Lake.
right. This one's not the cliffhanger.
Yes.
No. This
Well,
one.
I mean, they both
this one
kind of had.
continued the cliffhanger, basically.
Yeah.
Yes, this is definitely the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
That's a great one. This
So
is
That
great.
Shannon, I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Is Stand your favorite or Emily Lake your favorite?
Oh.
stand.
Ooh, why?
Oh.
Why? Do tell. Do tell.
Because so many great things happen in this episode. I love the fact that, well, some of my favorite lines are in this episode.
Bering and Wells.
So that one is a
Wells
great
and Bering.
one. That one too.
Solving puzzles and saving the day.
All of that is on my shirt. Yes. My favorite part in this episode is my favorite line is when Pete's mom was like, y'all haven't finished the sentence yet, right?
I love that line.
That's my favorite line. I
Yeah.
like Stan because so many great things happen in this episode. You get to see them find HG. She left the locket. You get to see what Sykes is wanting with her. You get to see that
How wackadoodle he is.
how wackadoodle. That's a good word for it.
I mean, he lived through the Breakfast Club. You know he's got to be weird.
Poor Tyler. I like how when they come down the ramp, like he was waiting for them. He knew that they were coming after her. I like the fact that he is aware of her feelings towards HG and Micah's.
Mm-hmm.
I like how she shoots at her, but yet she's so worried that, Micah, I didn't do that. And of course she did do that. But this is the first time that HG's been back in her body since the end of season 2.
Mm-hmm. In her physical body, anyway,
In her
not just
physical
the
body.
magical 8-ball.
Mm-hmm. There's so many great things. I love that when they get to the warehouse, that she automatically jumps in and starts helping, solve the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I do love, obviously, my, get off your cross, I trusted you then, I trust you now. So get off your cross and help me solve this. What'd she say? Old times then, like solving puzzles, saving the day, right? Bering and Wells. She
says Wells and Bering, and Micah says Bering and Wells, solving puzzles and saving the day.
But at the end of all of this, at the end of the entire second season that she was, or the episodes she was in, through the entire third season, you're thinking that she's just this whack agent that was all in it for herself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even though people forgive her along the way, the fact that the warehouse forgives her.
Yeah, she smelled apples.
She smelled apples. And she smelled
apples when she first got there, too. Yeah.
She smelled apples and again, you get to see her in Warehouse 12.
Mm-hmm.
So out of all of it, this episode is my favorite through the entire series, I think I want to say.
That's a bold statement.
I know. And I mean, there's episodes in season 4 that I like, but there's episodes, but when you talk to someone like me who's definitely in it, I like the history of it. Mm-hmm. I like Bering and Wells part of it. You get to see her come apart. She starts helping with the warehouse. The way Pete hugs her at the end.
Oh, that was so sweet. She's just like, wait, what's happening?
She's been redeemed. But man, the sacrifice that she gives for not just Micah. I mean, she's talking to Micah. Mm-hmm. I like how when the moment she puts the bubble up, and Artie figures out what's going on, but it's Micah that steps forward because Micah realizes why she's doing it. I mean, would she do that for Pete and Artie? Probably.
Yeah. I liked how you heard both Pete and Artie like sitting there going, this is a warehouse, we can do something else. And their chatter just kind of goes silent and you just see the eye contact between her and Micah and just and she's like saying thank you. And Micah's just sitting there going, I can't believe I'm losing you again. But thank you.
So, without a doubt, those Bering and Wells fans out there, like me, know that the entire third season was played for the Bering and Wells fans. Mm-hmm. All the episodes, all that stuff, all the interchange that we saw in that scene. Micah stepping forward, knowing exactly that the HG is sacrificing herself purposely for her. I mean, it was one of those Bubble Guppy mummies. Why does it have to be there? Why can't you just expand the bubble a little bit? Whatever.
Well, she said she could only make it go on that spot on the floor. So,
And she had to activate it from outside.
yeah,
Right.
she had to activate it. Somebody had to activate it from outside the bubble.
But you get to see an HG in a world before she got jaded. She was happy. She was ecstatic.
Mhm.
She was ready to learn. Kataranga was a cool dude. I mean, I can only imagine
He
going
would
to
have
work.
been a fun teacher. Oh my gosh, I would have loved to have him as a teacher. And I loved how she came in with the pistol, and she's like, "What is this?" and is holding it like it's like this disgusting thing, and he rattles off what it is, and then she says, "Well, I'm not going to carry that. This is for an uncivilized society." And he's like, "Okay." And then he pulls out his version of a Tesla, basically, and shoots it at the other agent after he comes in, and he says, "Well, it's time for your target practice." Zap. She's like, "Did you kill him?" She's like, "No, you're just stunned." Change the rules. When you don't like them, change the rules.
So you get, like I said, out of the entire series, yes, it's a bold statement to say it. And I'm not saying I don't like other episodes, but this episode is my favorite throughout the entire series.
All right. Well, a lot to unpack there. First, let's go to Kataranga. We didn't talk about him last episode. He's played by Erick Avari, who has 152 acting credits since 1962. He had a couple
Tell me
in
again where you've seen him.
1960. Oh, I've seen him everywhere. So
yeah, he's literally everywhere. He was in The Mummy.
one episode, well, hold on. One episode of LA Law. We have to give him credit for some of the greats. One episode of LA Law, one episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh, he was in that.
Yeah, it was season 5, episode 7, Unification.
Where?
I know where. Just hold on. 1992 episode or a movie Encino Man.
Oh, yeah.
He was in an episode of Cheers. He was in an episode of Sequest 2032.
Oh my God, I love that series.
I just throw this in there because I love the series. He was in an episode of Mad About You. He was in the 1994 movie Stargate.
Yes.
Yes, he was.
And an episode of Star Trek DS9. So note TNG and DS9. Hold on to that in your pocket for a second. He was at the beginning of the 1996 movie Independence Day. He played the SETI chief and he was unaccredited.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy that woke up and he hit his head because the guy was doing the golf ball and stuff like that. He was in an episode of Babylon 5. He was in the 1999 movie The Mummy. He was in an episode of West Wing. He was in 3 episodes of Stargate SG-1, playing the same character as he did in the movie. He was in the 2001 film The Planet of the Apes. And then he was in an episode of Star Trek Enterprise. So I said I'd come back to that. He was
everywhere.
in TNG, DS9, and Enterprise. He was in an episode of The X-Files. So a lot of one-offs here. Yeah, a lot of one-offs here, but he's been in some good stuff. He was in the 2003 movie Daredevil. So not the Daredevil that we know now with Charlie Cox. He was in the one that a lot of people said wasn't all that great, but 2003 movie Daredevil. He was in 2 episodes of Jag. He was in 4 episodes of Heroes, and we won't hold him against that. And he was in 2 episodes of Burn Notice, one of my favorite. And 3 episodes of Warehouse 13. Last time we didn't talk about it, but he was in Emily Lake. He's in Stand, and he will be in season 5, episode 6, Endless. He was also most recently in 8 episodes of The Chosen. So the man has been in a ton.
He's been around.
I mean, he's like, you see him everywhere. You'll be watching something, you're like, oh, there he is.
That's right.
He was really good. I loved his character. I wish I had a teacher like him, because he was so. He's like, oh no, I'm not the guy that runs the place. I'm simply the teacher. And what else did he say he was? He was the teacher and something else. I don't remember what else.
Solver of puzzles. Or something like that.
Solver of puzzles. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah. So he was great. I loved having him, even if it wasn't just a few scenes. It was great. And he, of course, was the nexus of the episode because he created the chess puzzle to contain the Regent's Chamber of Regents or whatever that was called.
Regent Sanctum.
Yeah.
I tell you another cool thing you get to see in this episode, which you have never seen before, is you lose Miss Fredericks.
Yeah.
She just wastes away when the warehouse goes.
See how old she is and how she's not just, yes, she's human, but she's a part of the warehouse. So the warehouse was being attacked, and when it blew up, it thought that it was dying, right?
It was dead. So was Mrs. Federick. Mm-hmm.
That was really, we could just jump to that at the end. It was incredible. So basically a nuclear bomb goes off in the warehouse and it just disintegrates artifacts. Artifacts can be destroyed, apparently. And it just took everything out. And the way it did, it was just tossing them. They were just burning, going into flames. The big blimp goes away. Is the blimp the Hindenburg? I think the Hindenburg is the blimp. I'm not sure there.
I don't know, but all my brain did was go, oh, the humanity.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing goes, including the warehouse shell itself. And the people in town are going, wow, the IRS really screwed up here. But
somebody dropped a match. Oops.
I used to at one time. I used to have the soundtrack for the season, and the song that was playing in the background, the violin that was playing in the background when this was happening, man, it's still so sentimental and it's emotional. And because obviously, for those who have been watching it for a long time, we know we're going to get into the season. So, something's got to give. But when you're watching this for the first time, because we're old enough to remember regular TV, and you're under the grip of your seat, like, oh my God, they better not have just killed my favorite people. They better not have, it better come back. And then you got to wait, 6 months to a year?
Well, I mean, we'll get into that later, but there's the holiday episode in there. You're like, what?
Yeah. There's a holiday episode where you're just like, wait, that don't make no sense.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next time. We'll leave this where it stands because, no pun intended, because after this aired, you didn't know what was going on. You hadn't seen the holiday episode. You just didn't know for a couple of months. So, yeah, a couple months. So it's October 11th, and then it's a couple months later when the holiday episode airs. And then you think, what's going on? Also, the warehouse was renewed. So you knew there was another season. Matter of fact, it was renewed for its biggest season in season 4. So you knew something was happening. And that's why I say this is kind of like the best of both worlds. Shannon, I know you know what best of both worlds is. In TNG, it was the cliffhanger of all cliffhangers between season 3 and season 4 of Star Trek The Next Generation. A lot of people say that is where the franchise really took off again, was at that moment.
Well, was that 3 and 4?
Yeah, that was the cliffhanger for 3, Best of Both Worlds Part 1, and it went into Best of Both Worlds Part 2 at the start of season
3 and 4.
Yeah.
That was farther into the series.
Too, but it makes sense because it was still Commander Shelby. It was still the Borg. Yeah. It was
Locutus.
Locutus of Borg. Yeah, that was a big thing that just...
And the camera panning off of Dr. Crusher's face. Yeah. I remember.
So this was of that ilk. Yeah, it was 10 years later or whatever, but it was the same feeling because you're like, oh my gosh, they got rid of the warehouse. They gave you the hope, though, of the pocket watch. You're like, oh, okay, so something can happen here. But yeah, the inn was damaged. The warehouse itself was destroyed. All those artifacts are gone. So they only have what's on them. And they have to now figure out how they're going to bring it all back. And spoiler, the next episode, the regular season episode, is called New Hope. So that's how they get everybody back. And Jinx, I'm going to spoil it. Jinx comes back. I mean, he had the epic death. Man. But yeah, he comes back. But you don't know that here.
You don't know that when you see it. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, again, when I go back and I watch the series, I always start in 3. I mean, I love it. There's episodes in season 2 that obviously I watch. But the magnitude of this episode especially the first time around, or for the listeners who've never watched it before, it's a big one, right? A lot of things happen. Jinx, you get to see Jinx and how they killed him. You get to see the final plan that Sykes was trying to get in the entire time. And it took him leaving his wheelchair behind before they started, well, how come the lights are all high-fiving each other? How come the lights are going? Right?
Yeah. Why are the lights still red?
Something still, I mean, did he just plan to walk out of here? I mean, I just think the magnitude of it, seeing all those artifacts getting destroyed, watching Lena get pummeled inside the inn. Who knew that there was an alert or an alarm for the inn?
Right, that was pretty good in the duck. Yeah.
Right.
Pull out the duck. Duck alarm.
So, I just think, and for the fact that Claudia dodged out of the warehouse somehow.
And she turned full black, full dark. Because she went after Sasha really hard.
That's his real name. She went after whatever his name is. What is his name?
Well, I mean, the beginning of
Marcus
this, when you Marcus. The beginning of this, when you see Claudia and they just start with them at the last scene that we saw and seeing Jinx there, and Claudia's she's broken. She's broken. She's mad. She just, the world is dead to her, really, after this. And you see Micah's just like, okay, I let the agents know they're gonna come and get him. And, Claudia, we need you to hack into this computer. We got to see where they're going. And she's trying to get Claudia to just look at her. And Claudia's like, no, there's nothing left for me. I don't want, this is senseless and I don't want to do it anymore. And y'all can just go away. And Pete looks at her and says, Micah, he's dead. She's like, I know. But he's like, well, how can you keep going just like everything is normal? She's like, because if I stop, I'm going to lose it and I won't be able to function either, kind of thing. So she's like, I need your help.
Right.
So Pete goes over and he looks at Micah and he says, I'm going to stay with him. Can you look at the computer? She goes over there and she's like, what she said?
Fat boy.
She said it's been fat boyed. Micah's like, say what now? In other words, it's been nuclear bombed and you can't get anything off of it. And she goes right back to Jinx. And,
for those that don't know, the first 2 nuclear bombs were named, and Fat Boy was the second one that went off. So that was the one that went over Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Excuse me.
So that should have given you a clue what was coming.
That's true. But yeah, then you see her, and the way they stop Marcus is because of that metronome. And once she stops the metronome from ticking, even though he was a detective and he got shot. So how did he come back? My Bubble Guppy moment was, how did Sykes save him in the first place? If he got shot 3 times in the chest and he was dead, do you just resurrect that person by making the time thingy click, the metronome click? Because as soon as she stopped it, he passed away, and she just was like, this is for Steve. And she went off on Jane, the regent. She's like, no, you guys are cowards. He didn't need to die. He is worth 1,000 of you guys. And the only reason he was there was to fix your mistake. Period.
Ouch.
And then when she was told to give back the metronome to Mrs. Federick, she's like, no, I am bringing back Steve. I have found a way to bring back Steve. And I don't care what you say. I'm bringing back Steve. So you really see Claudia just like, this is it. I'm doing this. Who cares what you think? I'm doing it because I don't care. And I want my Jinx back.
And Federick knows she can't oppose her because she knows what Claudia's destiny is. And she knows the warehouse is going to back her up.
Mm-hmm.
So unless she goes,
it does.
Yeah. Unless
but
she goes
artifacts
full,
do have consequences.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Even with that's what the regents are grasping with. Artifacts have consequences with them, and they understand that, and they're caught in the web, and now Claudia's caught in it too.
The way that Lena kept looking at her like, oh my God, did you just really just tell Miss Federick no?
Yeah. Lena just looking at her like, oh my God, she seriously just told Mrs. Federick no. And she means it. Like, this is not a joke.
Right.
She was pissed off.
By the way, before I get hate mail, by the way, the two bombs it wasn't named Fat Boy. The bombs were named Little Boy and Fat Man. Those were the two bombs named.
Yeah.
So it was consolidated into Fat Boy for the nuclear computer thing. I just want to, in case anybody was going to go all historic on me and everything. Well, you're wrong, SP. Yeah, I get it. It was a combination of the two bombs.
Yeah, the hard drive was a crater and she couldn't do anything about it. So, but did find out that they had made a plane trip to Hong Kong, and that's
let's go back to that for a second. The Jinx tape, it's like a MacGuffin in the whole thing, but it's cinematically, it's a unique way to bring a character into an episode that's supposed to be dead, so they get credit for the episode, so they get paid for the episode, and they're on all the credits and stuff like that. So there is a reason why you get the tape of Jinx in this episode. It's not just the exposition and the MacGuffin, but it is also business for him to actually be on screen.
So Eric can actually get paid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when Artie comes in there and looks at all three of them and goes, are you okay? And he's really looking at Claudia, and she just picks up her laptop and goes to the other side like, don't talk to me. And Pete's like, we are on the other side of the world, not okay. And as soon as they went through the artifacts and found that he died of a heart attack, just like everybody else that works with Mr. Crazy Pants. And and they're like, yeah, but I didn't know he smoked. She's like, he doesn't, because his uncle died of chain smoking or something like that. And she's like, that's my boy.
I bet you Tyler wished he got a shot.
So it was interesting that Erick Avari was in this episode from his Stargate thing, and they reference the Eye of Horus, which is also the Eye of Ra.
Yeah, so I noticed that too.
There's a little bit of a MacGuffin with that.
Yeah, the Eye of Ra and Hong Kong art. What was
is the Eye of Horus in this instance? It's the same as the Eye of Ra, though.
Yes, but what was the symbol when Artie and
Aperture.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
I love that scene. I love it where Micah just takes off, and then and Artie comes up behind her, and Jane's like, you two haven't finished the sentence, right?
But they're completing each other's thoughts because they know exactly what they're talking about.
I've been in a few conversations like that. It's really scary because you're like, I didn't actually tell you what I was thinking, but you took it, and the other person could have taken it a completely different way, but they did take it the way I meant. So I call that a win, but it's really scary when that happens.
It used to be scary. I used to have a partner that I worked in law enforcement with, that we could have entire conversations in 10 codes, nothing but 10 codes. And because we did it all the time, I could just throw a number into the conversation and he would just know what it meant. And Sean would be like, what the hell are y'all doing? I'm like,
you guys talking in binary?
I'm going to be 1012,
Hexadecimals.
Yeah.
Hexadecimals.
I don't know. Sometimes Shannon and you and I have had those kinds of conversations on Twitter or something like that. We've done conversations like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, but I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, like, there was in Emily Lake. I think I remember telling y'all that I like how they were choreographed, where they were stepping across the ground. Right? They did the same thing in this episode when they hit the Eye of Horse, when they hit the button on the wall. And it opened up.
Yeah.
And they both drew their weapons. and they both sidestepped into it, and then that's a good cop moment right there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because maybe because they knew which way the door was going to open because of the sketches in the sand on the floor.
Well, yeah, but
So they should have probably been standing on the other side of the opening to begin with.
Probably. I'm just talking about, I like the way that how they were in step and the camera was on their feet when they walked in.
Oh, that chess game. That was a brutal way to lose. Holy
poor
Moses.
Tyler. I remember Tyler getting decapitated, for lack of a better term. I'm not sure. Lobotomized.
Skull split.
Yeah,
right
whatever.
in half.
Whatever. I remember that, and thank gosh they didn't show it on camera.
Oh,
but
man.
they inferred every moment of it.
Me
Oh, yeah.
too, because I was having I was traumatized.
Oh, no. Yeah, probably. Whoopsies.
And again, the series is actually horrific because you do see tremendous and graphic loss in Warehouse 13. They're
Yeah.
not afraid to show it. It was part of the horror part of sci-fi because they knew they had horror fans in there. Shannon, you like the horror.
Mhm.
So you accept that part. I don't. Like, I just saw a movie this past weekend. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, which I won't talk about, spoiler or anything. There was a trailer on there for Aliens Romulus. And I'm a big fan of Aliens. I'm not a fan of just about any other movie in the entire IP, but Aliens is pretty cool. And this tried to bring back some of that, but it was too much in the horror realm in the trailer itself. I actually had to look away. I'm not squeamish or anything, but I'm like, I don't want to see this. Ironically, Deadpool is very graphic. Yeah.
I was going to say.
I'm
not, no, I mean, think about what I do for a living. I'm not that squeamish.
It's true.
So anyway, I'm watching this going, ugh. And like I said, ironically, Deadpool's a very graphic movie for those that haven't seen it. So, and I just can't see it. But yet this is kind of the same feeling. They just can't show it because it's on, at the time, cable TV.
Mm-hmm.
So if this was a streaming series, I bet you it'd be tons more graphic. It could be like Fringe, except for way worse is Warehouse 13. We haven't talked about it in a while, but that scene where Tyler is skull split is just, I was feeling it basically when it happened.
When you heard it, it was just like, oh,
and you see his fingers twitch out. Yeah, I could say I wasn't really at the PSD, but I can watch the squeamish stuff and it doesn't bother me. Reading my own file and reading where they talk about taking a corkscrew to my head, no. I draw the line.
When it has to do with you, it's a little different.
When they talk about when I read the file of how much of an inch of a blade they did, where they inserted the staples, I'm like, but it was the whole sentence about the corkscrew. I'm like,
you're like, moving on.
I'm like, what? But la 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 la.
Yeah, and then Pete dragging him off in just a shroud, and it's just got blood all over it. I'm like, oh, that's just yikes.
Or the way that Sykes ended. I mean, he was halfway going back through the wall.
Yeah, he was. He became a permanent addition.
He stepped through it, and she caught at least now they have the Claudia bracelet.
Yeah, they have the Claudia bracelet back,
and she's in Hong Kong.
It's very Stargate-like, especially when they had the iris in the Stargate, where it would close and just chop anything off. Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of great things.
What was in the box that Marcus brought to the warehouse? And he says that's a gift from your former employer. What was in the box? Anybody remember? Or we get to see that the next episode? I can't remember. I can't remember if we saw anything in that box.
I don't remember them opening it, but the only artifact that was in there was the magnetone, or whatever you call it, that Claudia had. But why would he give away the thing that can kill him?
I don't think he gave it away.
I don't think he brought that. I think there's something else in it. There's got to be something else in it. I mean, now we know what the shackles do when it senses a threat. They put up a big barrier. So when he shot that cannon from Black Barty's cannon from the greatest pirate,
Well, that's one of the things. I don't think it's directly linked to that. It's one of the defenses of the warehouse.
Yes. Well, the the bracelet, the shackles. That was one thing that she's like, well, I'm not afraid. And she shakes her wrist. And then as soon as that ball was careening towards the warehouse, it activated. She was groaned. And then there was this big force field that came about to protect the warehouse, which was exactly what he wanted to happen. Right. And how did he get did he have cell signal or something down there in that, region sanctum to wherever he could radio Marcus with? What was he radioing Marcus with to get that to work?
Bubble guppies.
Bubble guppies.
It could have been the same thing that the agents use. It could have been
something along those lines.
Yeah, he could have infused some of that tech into his phone.
Sure, bubble guppies.
Yeah.
I just think the long game that he was playing.
Oh man,
he did. No pun intended.
That was an execution.
I mean, the whole reason they shot off the cannon was to activate the shield.
Mm-hmm.
And by activating the shield, meant no one can go in or out.
Mm-hmm.
Getting Lena to activate it just meant that. I don't think that Marcus expected Claudia to get out of it, but he wanted them to see what he was going to do to them over there. But by doing that, that's the only time that I swear blank on his name.
Marcus?
Pete?
No.
Pete?
Artie?
Bad guy.
Sykes.
That's the only time Sykes could go through the wall, right?
Yes.
Brain injury.
The only way he could go through the wall was if it got activated, and then he was on the other Hong Kong side to activate it, which, by the way, was really funny when Pete and Micah got there, and the spot that the sanctum was over was a restaurant, and Pete's like, I've got a serious vibe, and we're in a restaurant, and I'm not hungry.
That's your first clue.
So something's going on because Pete's saying he's not hungry and he's around food.
He's in a different country. He might have drank bad water, and you know how that goes. You're not supposed to drink the water when you go to a different country.
Yeah.
Might have been a stomach thing. Just saying.
I think it was a bad vibe thing that made his stomach kind of queasy.
So Shannon, you brought up your favorite scene, and it was when they weren't completing their sentences, or they were completing each other's sentences, or whatever.
That was one of my favorite one-liners from it.
Okay. And your favorite scene, I'm assuming, was HG and Micah?
Bering and Wells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the table? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, when she forgave her and she told her to get off your cross and righty-ho then, So
Righty-ho then.
But again, that's the first time they've been face to face with each other since the end of season 2, since HG betrayed everybody, since she really didn't know how Micah was going to accept her.
As HG, as Emily Lake, they were in the same room.
Well, she was a hologram in the woods. She wasn't in her body then. And as Emily Lake, like you said, in the classroom. So this is the first time you get to see HG and Micah in the same spot, back whole body again.
Physically
since the pyramid.
Okay. So Carolyn, your favorite scene?
There's a lot of just little things. Claudia's performance in this was just you felt it. You felt her anger, you felt her despair, you felt her irritation, you felt her pissed off, and you felt her so her scenes were hard, but also just oh my God, I feel that kind of thing. And then Artie, when he realizes he needs to get the watch out of McPherson's room, you're like, what is that? I did really love the scene where Pete or Micah and Artie were finishing each other's thoughts, but not finishing each other's sentences. That was really good. I like the Bering and Wells, but there's also other things where Pete gives HG a really big hug.
Yeah.
Like, you did good, gal, and I forgive you for everything. And then at the end, when no words need to be spoken, that she just forgives her, that she says thank you. And that ending of just like everything is gone. Now what? He won. Artie, he won.
Like where
So it's one of those episodes where you're like, whoa.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Or like when Micah had to look down when the warehouse was actually blowing up, and Artie and Pete are watching the things go by.
Yeah, she just has her eyes closed.
Can't see it because what she is feeling is in front of her.
Yeah.
Either that or she watched Raiders of the Lost Ark and knew that she needed to close her eyes when the ark opened in front of her.
I don't think so.
There's that. What about you, SP? What was your favorite part?
The HD smelling apples and them looking at each other was definitely up there. But the savior of the episode to me, because if it ended there, I'd be like, what the fuck? No! But I think the savior of the episode was Artie at the very end. He pulls out the watch, in which we see him get earlier, so it's not that much of a surprise. But he said, we got a shot. Maybe
not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
And it just goes to show you that he was making plans that nobody else was. Nobody else was making that contingency. Nobody else was like, this could go very bad. I need to do something in case it does go bad. And he's been there once before. This is very reminiscent of the season 1 finale.
Isn't that the same artifact he had? Or no, that was the Phoenix.
Yes, that was the Phoenix. So he's been here before, but he chose another artifact to have with him. The Artie's bag of holding would have been nice as well, but he didn't have that. He just had the watch at the very end. Although he did have the either the bag or he had the warehouse at his disposal because he saved, I guess with the goo tank, the backpack, he saved HG and Micah.
Yeah, that was scene too. Yeah.
That was pretty good. He's like, when will you guys ever learn? No, don't touch these things.
Here's a question for you. For those of you, I can't imagine there's any of you out there, but for those that have never seen this before, how did Artie know to be right there at that moment to help them?
Well, I mean, they were all right there to begin with.
True, they were all right there to begin with, but I think we'll figure out that there's a reason why he was Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, fair. It's coming. Yeah, fair enough.
It's coming. There's a reason.
And I asked you at the very beginning, Shannon, what was your favorite episode? And you thought this was pretty much your favorite episode. My favorite episode is still 321, but it is followed by Stan, which is followed by Emily Lake.
These are two powerful episodes, definitely.
Yeah, very powerful episodes. 321 just spoke to me better. It had the triple timeline going on. It had the rocket. There was a lot going on in 321. Not to take anything away from Stan or Emily Lake, but 321 is my favorite.
Well, it does have a rocket for rocket scientists.
I would still say Stan. Emily Lake.
Yeah, you already did.
I can't remember which is which. I think Merge with Caution and then Around the Bend.
Yeah, my next one after Emily Lake is the 40th Floor, followed by Lovesick, Time Will Tell, and McPherson is the top 7 of mine. And then New Guy and Claudia. Claudia's fallen to number 9. You remember how much I loved Claudia when I first saw it? I still love it, but that just goes to show you what those other 8 episodes in front of it, how good they are. New Guy is Claudia-centric, and it also brings along Jinx. McPherson, that was that season 1 finale. And then the others, Time Will Tell, season 2. I liked it a little bit more than McPherson, so very similar to what we're going to get here in season 3 and season 4. Lovesick, which was very powerful storytelling in the 40th Floor, which was What's that?
Which one was Lovesick?
Lovesick was season 3, episode 3. And you get the synopsis for you so you know what I'm talking about.
Did you write down the writer too? was wondering who.
Oh yeah, I got those. That's another big discussion to have because you have some heavy hitters in this.
Our director's back too.
Right. So season 3, episode 3, Lovesick, while Artie and Claudia investigate people turning into clay in Salt Lake City, Pete and a blonde Micah wake up together naked in Artie's bedroom and discover Steve is missing. Yeah. I mean, it was campy. You had a lot of background and you saw some additional relationship building and stuff like that.
Walk around with Artie's toothbrush.
That's right. What is this for? So you brought up who was the creative team. Mm-hmm. The director, and this is unfortunately the last time we see him, it's Steven Surgic. And he has done a total of 6 episodes of Warehouse 13. And he has many, many credits to his name. I podcasted about Steven before on several different podcasts because he's been in the Marvel universe and he has done DC stuff as well. So I've caught him on at least Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. and on Starling Tribune before. Always have enjoyed his episodes. He also did an episode of Eureka. I don't know which one off the top of my head, but he did an episode of Eureka. So he was in there. The writers, you may or may not have heard of these two, Andrew Kreisberg and Drew Z. Greenberg, 2 very, very good producers and writers. This is Kreisberg's last. It was the 4th of 4th that he wrote, and we will see Drew Z. Greenberg in the future in season 4. He's got 3 more episodes, but these 2 have a ton of background in both Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and in the Arrowverse. So I've known Kreisberg and Greenberg for quite some time and have enjoyed their work quite well. We've gone over their credits before, but this is a powerhouse team that was here for the finale, and it is part of the reason why it is so great. Because the actors can only take it so far. You have to have a good story. You have to have it shot well. You have to have the direction just correct. Even though these actors know their characters, yet you have to bring them along specifically. So this trio,
the storytelling, the story writing, the cinematography, it was, I think, the first 2 seasons were leading up to this episode.
Well, also you have to consider that generally the season finale has a huge CGI budget, and the CGI budget for this went to that explosion at the end. Yeah,
it was huge.
You know, you get something like Star Trek and they have a couple of off episodes because they're saving their CGI budget. You can take a look at Battlestar Galactica, any sci-fi show, space sci-fi show, you can tell that they're saving their budget once they get to a certain point.
So does that mean TNG was saving their first 2 seasons for the budget between 3 and 4?
That was storytelling.
Actually, TNG, they should have taken off the whole phallic symbol off from Deanna's head.
Well, if you go back and actually watch season 1 and 2, I was of the opinion for a very long time that it didn't get good until Best of Both Worlds Part 1, which is at the very end of season 3. I was mistaken because I went back and watched up through the middle of season 5 as we were podcasting on Picard season 3. And I was shocked at how good some of the early episodes actually were in season 1 and season 2 that I did not remember being that good at the time. But you watch them again and you're like, hey, now Encounter at Farpoint, that was a train wreck, but you get some of the other episodes along the way and it's pretty good. So,
you know what's funny is you say it's a train wreck, right? And I agree. It was a train wreck, right? How it made it to the next episode of the next season, no idea.
Know.
But one of the absolute best cosplay I had ever seen walking through a con was Q in that judge's outfit from Farpoint. I was like, oh my God, I got to take my picture with you because he's like, you're the only one that's ever come up to me today. I'm like, I know, because no one's as old as I am and knows what's going on.
The best cosplay I've ever seen at a con, and I actually have a few favorites, but my favorite that I've ever seen was a Lady Vader outfit. And it wasn't skimpy at all, but it did accentuate her curves. That aside, it was just a very, very well done costume, and she played it well as she was walking around. She played it like she was Lady Vader. Now, she didn't go all nutsoid on anybody, but you could just tell, like, people hearted in front of her. It was just, well, okay, we're not messing with you. And, you know, she just played into it. She didn't mess with anybody or anything. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
I don't know. I got a picture of a really good Star Wars where the little. Lose my mind today. The little.
R2D2?
No, the furry thing.
Ewok?
Ewok.
She was dressed like an Ewok, and she had like dots right here, but she had like green fern or whatever for covering her chest. But she had little bitty ears, like bear ears sticking out.
Mhm.
I'll send it to you later.
I think the best one I've seen, I mean, I've seen a lot of amazing cosplay, like just seriously cool.
Yours is
But the
good.
one that I saw, it was from DS9. It was Kai Wynn in that golden outfit that she had. This person had like literally, I mean, she literally from afar, I thought it was Kai Wynn. And I thought it was from Deep Space Nine. I was like, holy crap, that is amazing. It's so detailed. And she literally looked like it. I was like, I have to can I please take your picture? Because you're amazing. She's like, oh, yeah, sure.
To this day, I think she is
Pretty cool.
one of the top 3 villains in all of film and sci-fi. Kai Wynn. It's
deliciously evil.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Now, the only other
you didn't watch Deep Space Nine. So she was a villain, but kind of a religious villain. She was such a deliciously evil person out of Deep Space Nine, closer to the end of the series. She was so good at being good but evil. So she had that. She was like the religious person that everyone looked up to on Bajor, but she had that turn around and I'll stab you right in the back kind of feeling to her. So it was like, don't turn your back on this woman because you will regret it.
Now,
And then she'll make you wonder why, or like that it was your fault that she stabbed you in the back.
SP, have you ever seen her cosplay?
yeah, her
Your Tron?
yeah,
Mine?
Tron.
Yeah, your
My
Tron.
Tron dress and my Star Trek outfits.
She showed me a picture of the Tron outfit. That was hats off to, that was pretty cool. Now, another villain just throw out there that is on par with Kai Wynn, and I can't honestly rank them. They're like equal, is Megs Bennett from Justified. And Megs Bennett is, oh my gosh. Margot Martindale played Megs Bennett, and very much so a Kai Wynn sort of. I mean, it's amazing. It's totally in a different universe, you know, in the hills of Kentucky versus, you know, a space station way out there.
Versus Bajor, a different planet.
That's the one you said that I said that she played on Winona, right? It's the same woman? The Margot?
I think so.
Did she?
I think she played.
I've not seen Winona, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, let's find out.
I think we had that discussion before, and I think that was that.
You haven't seen any Winona?
No, I have not.
Hey, I have Orphan Black first, and I have vacation next week, so I plan on taking it with me so I can catch up on a little bit.
No, Megs is not showing as in Winona.
It would have been season 4.
Nope. Not coming up.
Maybe that was a different one we were talking about. I haven't seen Justified, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, yeah, villains are amazing. And I don't know if I would put Sykes in that amazing villain. Sykes is just motivated. And
oh, yeah.
He speaks to us because in our generation, you know, he was Anthony Michael Hall. So,
Good
you know,
back at him.
yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, he played, so, who was he wacky on this one? Just like the amount of evil, just pure evil.
I can go into his logic and agree with some of it, but I can disagree with a lot. Like, he destroys the warehouse, so all those artifacts are gone, and he can't use them.
But he has a stockpile of others.
Yeah, but it's like, why do you get rid of a stockpile of? These are not recreatable. You know, they're They're one-offs.
And here's the other thing is, does that create an artifact in and of itself? Something left from the warehouse that just then got created as an artifact because the warehouse died.
If there was anything left.
Yep. What was it that was the bomb? It was, what was it called? It was,
from the Parliament building in World War II.
House of Commons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
And
from
was
the
it
Blitz.
hit? Oh, okay.
It had absorbed a lot of the explosion energy.
And that created an artifact.
A nuclear bomb artifact.
Yeah, and I don't know, at the time that Parliament was bombed, I'm not sure that nuclear weapons existed. They were being developed, but I don't think they existed.
Yeah.
And if you want more information about that and don't want to read history books, go watch Oppenheimer. I'm not a big fan of the movie because of the way it turned out, but a lot of other people are. So go watch it. You'll see all about the intricacies of creating the frickin' nuclear bomb. It's not about the tech. It was about the people involved.
Mm-hmm. One of the funny lines, though, was when Pete had a blowtorch and he was trying to open said bomb so that they could purple goo the artifact inside. He was trying to blowtorch it and stopped. It didn't do anything. And he's like, nope, takes a licking and keeps on trying to kill us.
Or I like when she, well, I always thought, I died just a couple feet from you.
we always said we'd go out together. And Artie's like, I didn't. I was going to outlive both of you.
Well, and then, Artie's got something to live for. He's got Vanessa.
It's true.
We don't see Vanessa in here. I think it would have been better if we would have saw Vanessa like swooping into the inn and like, is Artie okay? Like when the alarm went off and stuff like that. I think that would have been cool. Who else would have been a good character to bring back? I think Vanessa, because she still is around, especially from the Regent side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Kozar, the other Regent.
Yeah, that guy.
Kassan. He could have come around, but I think they're protecting him in a undisclosed location, so I could see him not being there. Other than that, I don't know anybody off the top of my head that is like, yeah, they really should have been here. Claudia's boyfriend, we don't see him. The band guy, we don't see him.
Yeah. Or the one in protective custody or witness protection program.
Well,
I don't think
people are important because they're not part of the storyline. Vanessa would be cool to come back, but when it comes back, when it comes back, it's gonna have to be because no one knew about it.
Well, like I said, the alarm has gone off in the inn.
Yeah.
So what else did that trigger? Was it just an alarm in the warehouse, or did that trigger other things within the Regent's
Was there
sphere?
other bat phones that it rang as it went off? Kind of thing.
The Bat Cave.
Yeah. The Bat Cave. Oh, the Peak Cave. Say goodbye to the Peak Cave.
And again, I'm a little disappointed at Lena. I remember her as being a stronger character, and she's just not doing well. She doesn't know any self-defense, which is not her forte, so I'm not blaming her.
Got slammed on that floor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's like, if you're working around these dangerous artifacts, you might want to pick up a thing or two about self-defense.
At least carry a Tesla.
No, kid, you got to be more than just a
innkeeper.
You got to be more than just a...
Mrs. Federick does come to the rescue, so I mean, there is that. Comes out of nowhere.
That was the drowning medal that she had, right? That was the drowning medal that she had, right?
She used on Stokowski.
Okay.
Yes.
He's like, that's not going to kill me. She's like, no, but it's going to hurt a lot.
For a while.
Not like it at all.
Nope.
But to see him like crumble and dry up like a fish, it was like, but to see her, I mean,
man. Yeah.
Just when you think that you've seen it all, oh my God, they've all blown up, they've all died. Then that one died too.
I'm glad that they did, in retrospect, I'm glad that they did air Emily Lake and Stan back to back. Yeah. Because if they just aired Emily Lake and then they waited a week, I would have been so extraordinarily pissed off. because I kind of relived that this time around because I didn't completely remember everything that was in Stan. And if they had, it's the whole you're killing Jinx, and oh my gosh, you're killing Jinx. I can't believe it. But then you get the hope at the very end of Stan, and you're like,
I remember them airing it back to back. I guess they did.
They did.
Mhm.
October 3rd, 2011. The date of premiere is the same on both episodes. So it was back to back. So I'm glad that they did. I think whoever made that decision was smart in that they had seen the two or read the scripts or whatever. They understood what was happening between the two. So I'm glad that they did air them back to back because that would have, I don't know if I would have come back for the final.
But it had pissed off lesbians. I'm going to say it.
But again, you get the hope at the end. So it's like, okay, she made this sacrifice, and it's not been the first time that she's sacrificed something, but this of course is her life and everything. So she made the sacrifice, and you're like, okay, you saved Artie, who has the object that can then possibly save everybody else. She didn't know that, unless she did, but she didn't know that at the time. And so she thought she was making a noble sacrifice. So kudos on her.
You did see her like when they all came into the purple tent, and she's not looking at the bomb at all. She's just looking at the other stuff, the big wall of electrical panel things behind everybody to see what she could do to save everyone or to save those three.
She jumped in and got right to work.
As only HG can, solving puzzles and saving the day.
I know it. I love it. I'm a Bering and Wells geek, and I'm still going to love it.
Any final thoughts, Shannon?
Go watch this episode, and then watch it again, and then watch it again, and then maybe go some other episodes, but then come back to this one and watch it again.
There's so much to find in this episode. You could watch it 2 or 3 or 4 times and still catch something else.
There's so much in. I mean, even when you watch them back to back, there's so much in this episode. Just by itself, there's so much in this episode.
Agreed.
Yes, indeed. So we did get some email feedback from Clyde again, and he responded to us or came out with an email to warehouse13fancast@gmail.com, and he said, the subject, Winona Earp. So I love this series, and I just heard Tubi is doing a 90-minute reunion special. Yay!
Thanks for the email.
Yes, thank you very much, Clyde. We really appreciate that, and I know Shannon is looking forward to that 90-minute reunion special.
I wasn't until the San Diego Comic-Con pictures started coming out, until the videos start coming out.
San Diego Comic-Con.
I was a little worried about how it was going to look after getting everyone back together. Kind of still am a little bit, but
ooh, the Strange New Worlds trailer, though. Oh, can't wait for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to catch up on that to be able to watch the finale about the time it comes out.
Right. When is it coming out? Do we know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Released it yet.
I'm in the middle of season 2. I don't think I've finished season 2, or if I have, I haven't made it to season 3. So.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. And I have a love-hate relationship with this year's Comic-Con because I don't know how San Diego Comic-Con, because I don't know how I feel about a couple of things in some of the franchises. I'll just leave it at that. I won't be controversial on this podcast, but there were some announcements I was like,
really?
What?
Really?
Yeah. Wait and see, maybe. And we're at the point in some of these studio houses that I can't give an automatic pass to. Like in the past, I might have given an automatic pass, but I'm not there anymore. And after seeing, for instance, after seeing the Aliens Romulus trailer in the movie theater last weekend, I'm like, no, that is a hard pass. Not doing that.
Pull up.
Yeah. The original Aliens, I'll go watch that again, but not this. Bill Paxton, I miss him. And I've been seeing a lot of the Twister stuff because Twisters has come out.
Yep.
And Bill Paxton, I miss him so much. He was great in absolutely
He was.
everything that I saw.
It really
She said
was.
it's a good movie.
Yeah, it seems to be a good movie. Glenn, he's played some awesome characters. He's got a little bit of an attitude, but that's kind of neat in a storm chaser. So can't wait to see. And he's also been cast already. He's signed up for I don't know what they're going to call it, but Top Gun Maverick sequel.
Who's the
He's
guy that's in it?
that's the guy that's in Twisters. Same
Which
guy.
thing?
Glenn, I can't remember his full name.
He looked like someone I've seen before, but I don't know where.
What? Facial recognition fail?
I know. Glenn Powell is his name. Let's see what else he's been in. Hitman, Jurassic World. He's in Top Gun Maverick, and we've gone over this before. You apparently don't remember anything from Top Gun Maverick. Not sure if that's because you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen the second Top Gun.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
I personally have a lot of technical issues and like military issues with Top Gun Maverick, but it's a fun story. Hidden Figures. He was in Hidden Figures, which was the females that were the computers for NASA.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
I remember the movie. I don't remember him.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't like Tom Cruise, but I'll watch him. Like the last movie I watched, it was when we talked about this before, was Emily Blunt. So Tom Cruise just happened to be in that movie with her.
Yeah,
but,
Live, Die, Repeat.
Badass, yeah.
I stopped being a Tom Cruise fan when he jumped up and down on the couch. After that, I was like, I'm out. And I've only been able to stomach him in really good stories that are movies, like the not Men in Black, the MI Mission Impossible.
I would like to see that, but again, not for him, but because Haley Atwell's in it.
I have not seen that one yet.
Priorities. You gotta have priorities.
I don't remember how many of those I've seen. I haven't seen them all though. I don't know. They just
it's like Fast and Furious. There is a storyline that runs through them, and you haven't seen all of them. It's like, what happened? I don't understand.
Yeah, I think I saw the first one, and then I was like, man,
I might have seen the first two. I might have seen the second one. I don't know.
I don't know if I saw the second one.
That's like
Fast and Furious. The second,
I've not seen those.
The second one was Tokyo Drift. So it was like a completely different thing. They were like, we're going to take this and then we're going to
Tokyo Drift.
What's that?
I thought the third one was Tokyo Drift.
Maybe.
I remember seeing the first two of Fast and Furious, and I like both of them. And I think I've seen the first two of Mission Impossible, and I don't think I've gone back. But
yeah, I don't think I did either.
I don't retain it. I mean, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings since it came out either, and I can't retain it. But
well, yeah, Lord of the Rings is iconic.
Since then, you haven't died one time. Okay, so not one time.
True.
Fair.
True.
All
Fair.
Right. So we're going to move on here in 2 weeks. So we're going to take a week off. Sorry, guys. In 2 weeks.
I'm taking vacation.
So I don't know actually if the week off is going to be before it releases or after, but next time we're going to come back with Warehouse 13, Season 3, Episode 13. I'm not going to call it the season finale because it's not. It's the greatest gift. It's the holiday episode. And Shannon, you probably want the Prime Video description. I'm just guessing.
I do. Go ahead.
Okay. Of course.
Pete Latimer, played by Eddie McClintock, is hit in the head by an artifact and wakes up to a life where he was never born.
Whoa.
Pete must hunt down and persuade the warehouse team, none of whom recognize him, to go on this life or death mission with him to vanquish a long dead nemesis from the past to get everyone's lives back.
Whoa.
I wonder if his mom's in this one. I don't think she is.
I don't remember her being in it.
No, she's got a 15-hour flight back from Egypt or from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
I'm like, you can't come up with some sort of artifact to make her travel a little bit faster.
Did you I thought it was hilarious that they were traveling coach to Hong Kong and they were on, the Farnsworth. Like nobody else was paying attention to their conversation.
And they're being loud.
And that was before cell phones or phones,
Yeah, I
quite
was like,
frankly.
well, it's a good thing the Farnsworth works while you're flying.
I remember in the late 90s, the late 90s and the early 2000s, so right around 9/11, in this famous that everybody knows that there were phone calls from the aircrafts. But I remember back then making a call, and I think it was before 9/11, making a call from an airplane just to make the call. And I was like, yeah, I made a call from an airplane. It was, so unique
Rebel.
back then.
How much did that cost you?
You rebel.
I don't remember. It was not cheap. It's like, I don't know, $20, which was a lot back then for a phone call.
Right.
And the other thing about that whole thing is they show up with their guns, not Tesla,
Yeah.
but guns.
No, but they're guns. Yeah. And
I'm
they
like-
both brought out their guns. And I'm like, wait, isn't one of you supposed to have a Tesla, not a gun?
And
Well,
how did
no,
you
they brought
with that? Yeah.
brought a gun to another country.
Well, they do have their badges, so
It doesn't matter. They're not law enforcement.
Bubble
And
Guppies.
yeah.
They went where? China? No, Hong Kong?
Hong
Hong
Kong.
Kong.
Go with them in with their weapons.
No.
It's like, I don't understand. I mean, if they had something like the Doctor Who's paper that, hey, where you can convince somebody you're an official or whatever, and you guys don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. now.
you can do that if you have an artifact that's like the Doctor Who's paper, but we haven't seen it. So,
Oh, wait a minute. They did that in Torchwood.
yeah, well, it's the same thing.
I remember them using that in Torchwood.
Anyway, yeah. So next time we'll come back to you with a holiday episode. Unfortunately, it will not be Christmas in July for us because it is, as we're recording this, July
Right,
30th.
yeah.
So we even missed that.
August.
I can't believe that.
We're in the last
Are you
days of Christmas in July for the Hallmark Channel. Only goes one more day. So
That's
Enjoy.
okay. They'll have like an endless string of them every day after Thanksgiving. Every day.
no, it starts after
Non-stop.
Halloween.
I think it starts after Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh, probably does. Every day. All day.
Well, no, it's
24/7.
not
And
every
then they have
day.
3 months of it, and then they have Valentine's of it, so that's 4 months of it.
I wonder what their like budget is. I mean, because seriously, they are like just a
It's just a Christmas
nonstop
thing. It's like
engine.
cabin. What kind of budget do they need?
I mean, it's a nonstop engine. Well, they've actually gone to different places. I have seen them in like Greece and other, like they're not just in Vancouver, except for it says, this one's in Oregon or this one's in Washington or this one's
No. Some of them are in Toronto.
okay.
Most of them are in Toronto.
Most are filmed in Canada, but say there's some other place. But there are ones that have been filmed in Greece and such now, or France or something like that.
They filmed
So
a
their
couple.
budget got built bigger.
Yeah, a little bit bigger. They did film just a couple miles down the road for me. I neglected to go see the filming at the time. And I live close to, for those that don't know, I live close to Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't live in Cincinnati, but the museum in Cincinnati looks a lot like the Hall of Justice from Super Friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it was used to film scenes in the latest Superman movie. And they did so by shutting down some of the, because it's right near downtown off the freeway. They shut down the freeways around rush hour. I'm like,
Ooh,
ow,
That's some
no,
pull.
oh.
that's
Yeah.
some pull.
Right. And I was talking to some people that had
They
to
take the
use,
mayor off.
well, no, I mean, I think
It's telecommute.
they enjoy the attention every once in a while. It's not often. It was used during some of the filming for the Arrowverse in their,
Mm.
I don't know, their Hall of Justice scenes, at least exterior for a couple of scenes. So yeah. Anyway, yep. We'll see everybody next time for the greatest gift. Until then, I am the janitor looking for employment. I'm SP.
This sci-fi girl.
It's Ocean 363. Maybe we can find a wall you can go through and find another warehouse. Hi.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast. You can find all our episodes at warehouse13fancast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit us up on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We are a part of the Lone Wolf Podcast Network. You can hear more of this cast and other shows like it by checking out lonewolfpodcasts.com. The intro music is Sci-Fi Hybrid Intro by Soundmake, and the outro music is Science Fiction by Tunes to Go. Both were purchased on pond5.com.
Also, Sasha said, say hi to SP and Carolyn for me.
Hey,
Hi,
Sasha!
Hi, Sasha.
Sasha!
That sound like what, Sasha. Sasha.
Sasha! Sasha!
And she saw this. If I can get there we go. My Star Wars thing. And she's like, is that a Star Wars quilt? And I was like, why, yes, it is. And then I started talking about, it's my background for my podcast. She's like, you have a podcast? I was like, yeah. She's like, what's it on? I was like, oh, it's this show that, it's called Warehouse 13. She's like, I love that show.
See, now you got a new fan for us.
Maybe if she started watching it. So
I listen to podcasts all morning long when I'm at work, but they're all in history.
we definitely geeked out for a while.